Ooh, the curl on my face. I have a story to tell. I don't know if I actually told the story already, or not, but I felt like this would be a good separate video than a different one that I was gonna make. But, this lady, I had a okay boomer moment today. I mean, not today, 2 years ago. I was in 4th grade. Emo Avery. I want you to understand. Like, this, but with, like, hair all the way up, always in a low ponytail. I looked like George Washington, but emo. I wore emo clothes. This outfit I was wearing today, I remember this exactly because I always wore this outfit. It was a gray shirt, long sleeve shirt, with an owl print on it, black leggings that were tucked in to my spiky boots, which I called that for some reason. They weren't really spiky, they were just black boots with feather earrings and my hair up with a choker around my neck. That is what I looked like that day. So I'm with a neighborhood friend and my brother, who's 9, and my neighborhood friend is 10. So we're hanging out at this gazebo that we have in our neighborhood. And I was like, ooh. So we go to the play at the park and we leave our bikes there. So, like, after 30 minutes or so, we come back and grab our bikes and we see this lady. And she's just like, all mad. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Are these in your way? We'll get them right out. We're just leaving right now. And she turns around, and she doesn't go, no, these aren't bothering me, or, oh, thank you. She goes, do you know there's vandalism in the park? Oh, I thought it was a glass. And I go, well, I've heard of it. I mean, I never really seen it before, but I've heard of it. And she was like, well, that sounds like someone who is vandalizing the park. And I was like, why do you think that? And she goes, well, you left your bikes here. And I was like, okay, can you elaborate a little bit? I'm not connecting the dots. And she's like, you know what I mean. You vandalize the park. Sorry, I lost the words. And I go, ma'am, there's no vandalization in this park. And she goes, oh, really? You want to play that card with me? And I was like, ma'am, I'm really not trying to. What do you mean? And she's like, look at this floor. And it was maybe like a handful of pebbles. And I'm like, okay. That's not permanent damage. We can clean those right up for you. Even though we can clean those right up for you. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. And she goes, do not sass me. I can't do the best voice, but she had a really weird accent. She was like, do not sass me. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, hey, look, I'm sorry. Let's just, restart. I really don't understand what you're talking about. She's like, you vandalized the park. And I was like, with pebbles? We weren't throwing them or anything. She goes, oh, really? Then why are there pebbles on the ground? And I go, we were playing a game where we were, making a civilization. Okay, don't get me on the wrong hand, but we were, making up a fake fire pit. we weren't planning to actually set anything on fire. I assure you that. And, you know, it was just fake. We were just trying to make a circle and put twigs on it. And we never really finished it. So, yeah. And she looks at me and she goes, really? And I was like, yeah, look, it was an accident. We really don't mean to hurt anyone or harm anyone. But I think you have to understand that this isn't vandalization. It's vandalizing. And I'm trying to say this in the sweetest voice ever. I'm like, look, I'm really not trying to disrespect you, and I'm really trying to do my best, but this isn't vandalization. Just leaving 2 pebbles on the ground isn't vandalizing. Are you saying that every time someone drops a piece of paper, it's vandalizing? And she goes, it wasn't an accident, because I said that. I was like, look, it was an accident. We really don't mean to be in your way, but... And she goes, it wasn't an accident. And I was like, are you assuming we did this on purpose? Leaving 2 pebbles? For what purpose? For what meaning? It's not a statement. What can we prove by leaving 2 pebbles? And she looks at me and she goes, get out of the gazebo. This is for the elderly. And I'm like, okay. Really? Or whatever. I look at her and I'm like, okay, whatever. And my brother, he starts picking up the rocks. And I go, no, hold on. So things start to escalate between me and this old lady. I'm like, square up, okay? I did not vandalize this. Square up. Okay, and she's like, listen. I'm gonna write an angry letter to your parents. And I look at her and I'm like, good thing I live in an orphanage. I don't. And she's like, I know you don't. And I'm like, how do you know? She's like, I know because you have a troubled home life. You're wearing emo clothes. And you're crusty, dusty nail. And I'm like, first of all, what? Second of all, no. She's like, what's her address? And I look at her, and I'm freaked out at this moment, because she's like throwing all this shade at me. She's like, you know what, I'm calling your parents. I'm gonna get the police on scene if you guys don't leave and clean this up. So, I'm just kind of like confused at this point. I'm more like freaked out, because for some reason, my 4th grade mind is like, oh my god, I'm gonna get arrested by leaving 2 pebbles. And she's yelling at me. She's like, you're a piece of trash. Nobody loves you. You won't find a husband. And I'm just like freaking out. Because I'm like, this old lady is being a bitch. Like, no joke, she is throwing shade. And that really scarred me for a while. Because I hate conflict. It might not seem like it, but I really do. And I was scared of her. Because she was like, straight up crazy. She was super tall. She had an arched back like this. And she had like these saggy cheeks that were like super skinny. And I was like, okay, I start to freak out. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna get like arrested in front of this kid, in front of my brother. The police are gonna come. And she pulls out her phone. And she's like, if you don't give me your address, I'm gonna call the police. And I give her my address. And I'm like, okay. I gave her my address. And I'm like, okay, I'm done here. I gave you my address. That's what you wanted. Bye. Like, I'm sorry. My brother's worried too. So while I'm arguing with this old boomer, my brother is freaking out with this other kid. They're both like, she's gonna get arrested. And I was like, so Owen, my brother, he starts to pick up these rocks. And I'm like, don't do anything for this old hag. And we rode off on our bikes. So, me and the neighborhood friend, he's riding with us because I need to talk. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna get killed. She's gonna send the police to my house. And he was like, you shouldn't have given them your real address. And I was like, I know, that's why I'm freaked out. And she's like, you should have given me her, like, a fake address, like, 666 fuck you Avenue. You should have done something stupid like that. And I was like, I know. So this old lady she's accomplished 3 things. She's yelled at me, made me feel bad, which is honestly everybody's accomplishment, because everybody hates me. I don't know, old people don't like me. Old people. I'm the middle child of my cousins, so that's an experience. I also don't live near my grandparents, so it's just kind of like, who's this person? I don't know them. Who's this disgusting looking being in my house for Christmas? So it's just kind of like that. I have no family photos in any of their houses. I don't know, old people just don't get along with me. And I'm like, okay, boomer, whatever. And she's also acquired my address. So, and also, she's also gamed my parents' phone number. And here's an interesting part of the story. She calls my parents, and she's like, your child has been caught vandalizing. And my dad goes, okay, we'll deal with this at home. Like, whatever. He hang up, and he was like, well, I see where you get your rebellion from. And then she starts yelling at me. So I'm, like, scared for my life. Because I'm like, I'm screwed when I get home. I should just, like, run off forever. I should just flee the country, go to Venezuela, live there for a while. So, it's a pretty weird experience, I gotta say. Most of the time that really doesn't happen to me. Not often that I get called out for vandalizing. And I don't know, I knew there was vandalizing going on around that area, but most of the time it was just like a carving into the wood of a gazebo. So, like, that's not even what we did. We had 2 pebbles on there. Like, maybe 5 even. That's a lot. That it was like in a little circle. And it wasn't even like scary looking. It was just like a circle that we forgot to clean up. Like a little circle of rocks with a little heart in it. Because I was in 4th grade. And so I'm talking to that kid. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. I was like, good luck. So he goes home, and I'm freaking out. And I'm like, Dad, this just happened to me. And he was like, oh yeah, that's why she called me. And I was like, I also gave her my address. And he was like, well, weird. You know what I think? She was trying to kidnap you. And I was like, and I guess you're right. So I think more about it now. And I'm pretty sure she was trying to kidnap me. Because A, asked for my address. B, called my parents. And also kept saying really weird stuff. Like, bro, when we get home, I'm gonna beat your ass. And I was like, I'm not going home with you. So, And that's exactly what she said. I'm not gonna try not to curse, but that's what she said. She kept saying, yo, when we get home, I'm about you. You know what? You're not gonna be eating dinner for a week. You're gonna be in that basement of mine. And I was like, when we get home, I'm not your cat. I'm not one of your 30 cats that you have to make up for the fact that you don't have grandchildren. So that was weird. But yeah, that was the story. Because she actually started following us on our bikes for a while. And I had to go like through a different part of the neighborhood. I was like, I'm swerving around this girl's house and we're gonna head back. She'll probably lose both by then. She was so scary. Oh my god. Like, imagine Pennywise the clown plus a Karen. And that's that lady. But like super tall. It was scary. Oh my god. But that was this week's video. Probably this month's video because I procrastinate too much. But you know what? Peace, dude. Probably gonna make another video around like Christmas time or Thanksgiving. But have a great day. You know what? I've been trying to come up with a good catchphrase, so I came up with this one. Stay fresh, dudes. So, that was so bad and so disgusting. But it happened, so stay fresh.